Hi Textile buddies, I'm Darya, textile and surface pattern designer, painter and educator. On this channel we talk all things textile, pattern, color and artwork. Patterns are everywhere. Today I'm bringing you a super exciting announcement that I published my second class on Skillshare. It is called Painting for Surface Pattern and Textile Design, where we go over the specifics of painting for the industry. I made a little survey some time ago where I asked which topics you guys are interested in, and there was a lot of interest in using traditional media for textile design. Yes, painting and other traditional media are still very much alive and well in this digital age, and it actually makes us stand out as designers. Hand-painted prints are very popular in apparel, including swimwear for women, children and men, in home decor, accessories and so on. So despite digital tools such as drawing in Procreate being dominant right now, hand-painted designs are timeless and unique in their own way. Of course, the designs eventually end up in Photoshop and other computer applications to prep the artwork for production, but there's nothing wrong with starting out with paper and paint. Who is this class for? Anybody who prefers traditional painting over digital art for any reason. If painting makes your heart sing like mine, this class is for you. This is a very studio-based class as opposed to the first one where I was on camera most of the time. This time I will be painting with you. We will study three most popular media for painting: ink, gouache and watercolor, the right brushes for them and variations in their use that can produce various visual effects. I will also show you how to work with different kinds of references for inspiration, such as magazines, books and online resources, and how to respect copyright while drawing inspiration. I'll walk you through my sketching and planning process, talk about different pattern layouts, and of course point out what kind of products the painted artwork can be applicable to. We explore a variety of popular topics such as loose watercolor florals, seasonal designs, and more. Do you have to know how to paint to take this course? I tried my best to make it as beginner-friendly as I could, but I think you will most benefit from it if you have some experience working with art materials and it's not the first time you've ever touched any art supplies. But again, most of the techniques I'm demonstrating are super easy and beginner-friendly. I will describe all the supplies I use, including brands of pigments, paper and brushes, and where to buy them, the difference between artist-grade and student-grade materials, how to plan and sketch out a future surface pattern design, and so on. This class also includes a project that is a requirement by Skillshare, and in the project I encourage you to try out several techniques and topics and decide what you like best. The feedback on my first class was that the music in the background was too loud and in the way, so I fixed it this time. I hope you like it. The link to the class is in the description, and if you are not on Skillshare yet, you can use my referral link to get a free month to watch any classes on Skillshare, not just mine. Let me know what you think. I would appreciate a positive review if you like it, and if you could spread the word about it, that would be magical and mean a lot to me. While developing this course, I originally included lessons on drawing techniques for textile design as well, but I was afraid, and rightfully so, that the class would get too long, and I'm saving it for next time. Let me know if it sounds interesting to you. I hope to see you in my class, and remember to subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't yet. Follow me on my both Instagram pages, Textile Design and Painting, on Facebook and other social media, and remember, patterns are everywhere. For the most patient ones who stayed until the end, I would like to make a quick grammar break, or a grammar notice. I'm a word nerd, I'm a linguist, so I've been wondering about the correct plural form for the word medium, and filming this class, I had to pronounce this word a lot. So, I'm not an English native speaker, obviously. Maybe you didn't know. In such cases, I try to emulate the native speakers, just listen to what people are saying and how they are using the word. Of course, going to school, learning English, we were taught that the plural for medium is media, right? But when I recently started taking different painting workshops and reading through different materials, I noticed that native speakers say mediums, painting mediums. And I was like, oh my goodness, it must be one of those exceptions when, you know, if it's not used in a literal sense or something like that, you do not use it as intended, right? For example, we were taught in school that if you say a computer mouse, the plural for it would be computer mouses, not mice, right? Because it's not an actual mouse. But I've never heard anybody say computer mouses actually. And going back to the medium or media, right? I asked, you know, on my Facebook page, I asked my fellow teachers, English teachers, because I used to teach English as a second language. And the dean of the school where I used to work wrote, it should be media, as in mixed media, right? It's not mediums. I also saw somewhere online that it's kind of a British thing to say mediums, right? That's why if you watch the class, you will hear me saying it both ways. I was like, you know, half through the class, I think I asked the question on Facebook and I started saying media again, but sometimes the mediums will slip. So don't get offended, please. And how do you pronounce this word? Let me know in the comments. Another thing to know is, you know, it took me a while to realize that sometimes native speakers don't know. Since I started venting about this, sometimes it's a little bit of a pet peeve because a native speaker is automatically perceived as, you know, superior in a language, and they are in a lot of ways, but a person who is a native speaker is not necessarily a language specialist. I also have this thing that bothers me, and one of my biggest pet peeves is that sometimes native speakers, you know, native English, American English speakers start correcting my mistakes and, you know, making comments about my English. And, you know, as someone who has been learning all my life, learning a language, I am quite self-conscious about my pronunciation, my grammar and everything. Also, my mom is a professor, so that kind of made an impression as well. So it happened to me several times, especially when I just got here, like within the first year. There was a woman who was constantly making jokes about the way I use words. And once I said something like, it's not allowed. And she's like, allowed? What kind of a word is it? Like, who uses that? Who says so? And she was a native Bostonian, and of course I immediately got very self-conscious. But later on I made a friend, you know, an American friend who was also an English teacher. And I asked her this question. I said, does nobody use the word allowed? And she confirmed what I thought. She said, sometimes people just have a really poor vocabulary, you know, they don't read a lot of books, they just don't know words. So when this happened to me again last year, you know, at my new job, the part-time job, there was a man who, you know, he looked younger, but I actually learned that he was in his 60s, which kind of explained some things to me. So he was also making fun of my pronunciation. He was making some kind of like communist Soviet jokes, which is really annoying. And he was also making comments about some words that I used. What did I say? It was some kind of like a joking interjection, something like that. And, you know, I heard this word somewhere in a show. Again, he was making jokes and saying, nobody uses this word, like who taught you this word? But this time I already knew it, you know. And I also asked one of my more educated coworkers, Americans, can you please clarify something for me? Did I say something really, really weird? She said it yet again, you know, some people have poor vocabulary. You know, that's exactly what I said to this man. The next time around, he started making jokes about my English, and I said, you know what, maybe you just have poor vocabulary. We both have this peculiar sense of humor, which causes trouble sometimes. I mean, speaking about me and my videos particularly, sometimes I get comments, people are like, you are mean, you are sarcastic, you are putting other artists down. And I would like to clarify that, if you know, if anybody is still watching up to this point, that I do not mean to be mean, and I never mean to put any artists down. Sometimes I might put down other professionals cosplaying as artists. That's, you know, what I might do, because that is another pet peeve of mine, that people with business degrees start getting into the field and teaching different things. But again, oh gosh, I didn't really mean to talk about this right now, but since I already started, I don't know if I will keep this in the video, maybe I will cut it out. So I just wanted to say, you know, I love artists and I support artists, and that's my primary goal here, to support artists, not to put them down. So if somebody, you know, comes to the channel and watches my videos and doesn't like me for whatever reason, it's fine. It's normal to not like something, but I guess you do not need to announce your exit, you know, just leave the channel and follow whoever you enjoy watching. I never want anybody to feel uncomfortable. But I guess, you know, if my vibe doesn't match yours, that's how it happens in life, and all the best to you. Well, all right. I guess I will wrap it up. I was going to keep it short this time. I don't know if it worked out or not. All right, bye. She's a rambler, isn't she? And especially when she didn't sleep enough. I get very talkative when I don't sleep enough. I hope you have a lovely, colorful, patterned day.